I'll stop talking. At some point during the stream, I might be like
We
BRB
are
and go
like
get
maybe
myself some lunch.
live.
Okay, maybe.
Going live.
Oh, we are live.
All right, what is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous people, you. Welcome back to A Raging Atheist. I'm your boy, Nakasuchi. I'm going to be swinging it to Ali, who is going to be moderating, participating in this conversation tonight, introducing our guests. Surprisingly, a Trumper didn't show. Everybody accuses me of being in this bubble, but I invite the opposition, and the opposition are cowards for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's just really hard to defend the undefendable. But before we get started, the schedule is going to be changing slightly on the channel. I'm really going to be trying to organize and get everything in order. I've been doing a lot of edited videos. I've been doing 4 to 5 a week. I'm going to be taking that down to 3 days a week, and I'm going to try to be very religious about that. Edited content will be on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Live streams, subject to change because there might be a change coming in the future. But right now, Wednesday is John's show. Thursdays are my show with Ali. And then on Sunday, I'll be doing a live response live stream. If I do anything at all on Saturdays, it'll be a surprise live stream that I just decide to do, probably to talk shit, because everybody knows I love to do that. So, without further ado, we're going to have a great conversation tonight about impeachment. I'm going to swing it over to Ali, do my daughter's nighttime shot. What's up, Ali?
Hey Naka, so thank you so much for inviting me to moderate this one. I really hope that our Trumper is not bitch made. Like, this is getting a little bit frustrating. Like, we keep ending up in echo chambers because people won't freaking show up. So,
I mean, just kind of be to kind of be fair to the one that hasn't responded to my email. John was supposed to give me his email last night. John gave me his email like an hour and a half ago. So it you know, I'll give him that justification that when I did send my email to him, that it was very short notice. Even though last night in the live stream I did tell him, 9 o'clock Eastern
I thought that
tonight.
Justin guy was supposed to pop in Trump's favor today, from last night.
Yeah, that's the person we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
The one on
yeah,
Twitter
maybe they'll
bitched
show,
out
maybe they
immediately.
won't.
But that said, it kind of sucks that we don't have somebody here to get into the, roll around in the mud a little bit with and defend Trump, especially given, I don't know how many of us here watched the full stream, but I noticed that CNN and I think it was CBC streamed the full hearings today, so I actually got a chance to watch part of them.
There's been, I mean, Washington Post, New York Times, Vice
David
News.
Pakman.
Everybody's been
talking
streaming
about
this
streaming
thing
on
every single
YouTube.
day.
But yeah, like I got the chance to watch some of it today. I didn't get a chance yesterday because yesterday was grocery shopping and errands because partner had the day off. And today we've got an emergency. One of our baby rats that everybody's been looking at the pictures for on all the servers took really sick. So they're actually running him up to the hospital, or her. They're too young for the genitalia to have dropped yet, so we're not really sure. So that's been going on. But got a chance to watch it, and the closing statements from the minority in the House, oof, this whole coordinated smear campaign shit. It's interesting. It would be interesting to hear somebody try to defend that position. It'd be interesting to hear somebody try to defend after these, like career folks who work in foreign affairs and who work in, like foreign policy came forward and went, yeah, by the way, we thought that this was, dirty from the beginning. So, Knock, mute yourself.
Yeah, my mic was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna open up the floor. We have a couple of special guests tonight. We've got AR, and we've also got Progressive Liberal, who hasn't been here for a while. So I'll let him open up real quick, and then we'll go over to AR, and then we'll just kind of open the floor and shoot the shit until somebody decides to want to, come forward, maybe try to defend Trump in addition to us yammering at each other. So welcome, Progressive Liberal. You had me on your show pretty recently, and we had a wonderful time talking climate change. How are you doing tonight? How are you feeling about everything?
I'm doing great. Thank you, first of all, for having me on. This is awesome. Trump's guilty as fuck. Follow me on YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. AR?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I don't really have any social media or anything to follow. I'm basically taking a break from all that right now.
No, I'll give
dealing with a lot of personal issues, so I had to step back. But no,
for sure,
I'll be
for
back.
sure.
I'll be back.
No, I'll give a better statement than that. What you saw this week was a parade of witnesses that were brought in by both the majority and the minority. You saw those witnesses continually state in every way that they could, whether it was hearsay, whether it was direct knowledge, whatever, that Trump was attempting to extort the Ukrainian government into announcing an investigation into the Bidens. Trump doesn't give a shit if the investigation happens. He doesn't give a shit if the investigation uncovers anything. He wants the fact that there is an investigation into the Bidens to be a foil for the 2020 campaign, because he knows he can use that to wedge himself into the presidential office once again. It's bullshit. Mm-hmm. Hunter Biden worked at Burisma. Hunter Biden worked at Burisma after the really corrupt government in Ukraine was ousted. The government that came in wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as the one that was there before that. All of it happened in the limelight. There was no secrecy about it. Hunter Biden worked on the board at Burisma. Burisma doesn't even have anything to do with the Ukrainian government. They're a fucking energy company. He worked there, and they paid him money for it. Shocking, I know. And it was a lot of money. Well, people that worked at the boards of large energy companies, they make a lot of money. Not as much money as Ivanka, Donald Jr., and Eric make all the fucking time.
Well, not as much money as Trump is currently making from the fact that the Secret Service has been stationed at his hotel for God's know how fucking long.
Also a great point. Yeah. So if Trump is or
as much money as he's been making from foreign dignitaries that are staying there,
right,
which has been repeatedly, pointed out that folks have been staying specifically at Trump Tower in DC to try to butter him up. Like, they're more likely to get meetings if they stay there.
And you hear the House Republicans all week, well, really all month, they've been saying, oh, well, they've wanted to impeach this president since he got into office. Yeah, because of the emoluments clause. Like, it's not like they were like, well, we're going to impeach him for what? We don't know. No, it was for violating the emoluments clause.
The emoluments clause.
Had that huge press conference with all the blank pieces of paper that were like, all of these papers prove that I'm handing over my business, but you can't read it.
And not just the emoluments clause. The 17 accusations of sexual harassment, the admitted sexual harassment culture that he pretty much said, I can pretty much just sexually assault anybody that I want to by his own mouth. Not only that, but I mean, his own words and actions of the past, the fact that he led a racist false campaign against Barack Obama and the whole birther movement. Right. There is a plethora of reasons for Democrats to want this man out of office, and all of them are legitimate, and all of them should have honestly happened a lot sooner than we're seeing now.
Bill Clinton got impeached for lying once. Donald Trump has lied over 13,000 times since he's become president.
I mean, like, Donald Trump lies as often as he draws breath. But what I think is really interesting is that, and I watched the tail end of the interviews with two folks.
I'm gonna admit, like, I pretty much watched like 85% of all of the live hearings. I've been like just glued, so yeah, I'm kind of like an expert here.
So, like, I find it
not
interesting.
as knowledgeable as you guys.
Well, I find it interesting that in the opposition's closing statements today, the minority party's closing statements today, they brought up the dossier and forgot to mention that about over half of the dossier's claims, apart from the pissing claim.
Last I checked, it was like around
like
84% of the dossier is verified to be true. I think what
well,
Dr.
and on
Hill.
top of it, they also left out the fact that, you know, he was the gentleman who put it together was a known informant for the FBI who had worked in Russia and other places.
Oh yeah. Well, Steele himself was not just a known informant for the FBI. He was MI6's point man on Russia. But I think what Dr. Hill was testifying to today, and you know, today was one of the few hearings I didn't get to watch to see much of it live. I have caught up on it though. What Dr. Hill was attesting to, I think, is that unverified part, especially the part about Trump hiring prostitutes. I think that she honestly believes, and it's actually somewhat changed my opinion on the Steele dossier, because I've always said, well, you know, we verified everything but what the Russians have. And listening to her testimony has actually changed my opinion on it. I think, by her testimony, I think like Steele did get played with some of those more racy, the things that we think that Russia has. I think that she believes Russia wants us to think that they have.
Right. I think what's important to remember about the dossier is that no part of it has been disproven.
Yeah, not a single part yet.
Right. Not all of it has been proved true yet, but nothing has been disproven.
Well, in the same way that he wasn't convicted of anything from the Russia investigation, but he also definitively could not be proven innocent, and that was made abundantly clear.
Right.
Mueller actually testified that if the only reason why he didn't get indicted was the fact that there is what the fuck is the word?
Memorandum.
Yeah, there's like a precedent in place where sitting presidents can't be indicted for crimes.
Well, it's a memorandum.
It's State Department policy.
Yeah,
but the point is his boss didn't want him to, so he didn't.
Right.
But when he did publish it, what he said was, I could not prove him innocent, you know, but I'm not allowed to say he's guilty. In other words, there's more than enough evidence probably to take it to court, but he wasn't able to.
Right.
And just literally to kind of recognize the chat really quickly, Oracle is saying that he could defend try for the pure meme of it. Oracle, you're welcome to come in and try. I always run open rooms. Sure. You know, to apologize to everybody for kind of the setup. I don't have Zoom in my computer. I've been very wish-washy about what direction I'm going to take the show and what stream service I'm going to use, especially now that StreamYard is actually showing super chats now. It's really made me really think about things again. So I'm using Ali's Zoom service. So that's why things are presented the way they are. For last week and this week. But Oracle, if you would like, I mean, and, you know, despite all that's transpired recently, I am more than willing to give any Trump supporter that wants to come in and defend the president ample opportunity to talk. And Ali is moderator. Ali's more than fair.
I'm honestly not sure if he's like authentically supporting Trump or if he's, because, you know, he said he wants to do it for the meme of it.
Yeah, Ori, if you want to come in, make sure that you're not just playing devil's advocate for fun. We want somebody who wants to earnestly defend the president. So if you don't feel like you can do that earnestly, like if that doesn't line up with what you believe are the facts, then I do suggest that you don't come on, just because we don't want a conservative Poe.
And if all you're coming with is Republican talking points that I've heard from Devin Nunes and Jim Jordan for the last week, that's the last thing that really, like, I will not be able to restrain myself. So I'm warning you not to do that shit.
Yeah, please don't do that.
All right, so I sent a Zoom link. DM me back one way or the other, but you have been sent a Zoom link. That said, as far as the hearings and stuff are concerned, we've had a parade of people that have all effectively said the same thing. Like, there was a pre-existing quid pro quo about even getting the fucking phone call to begin with.
Sure.
About agreeing to do, investigations. Like, the only thing that Trump has given a damn about this entire fucking time is his own stake in all of this, his own reelection campaign, his own interest, the interest of, the rich and powerful buddies that he's got.
This whole thing has apparently been in planning since March.
Yeah, and like, that's incredibly messed up. Like, it's insane just how deep this shit goes. Like, this is in some ways like the closing statements of the, majority party said, like, this is worse than Watergate. This is somebody leveraging fucking foreign policy to try to get an advantage. This is somebody literally screwing with the world's power balance just to be able to stroke their own ego. Like, that is insane.
I mean,
that is fucking insane.
To honestly put this in perspective, Ali, like, so I this is my perspective. So everybody knows, especially considering the last 24 hours on my Discord server, that I'm willing to put myself out on a limb and stand by my positions. What President Trump did was hand Putin power that Putin didn't have before. And not only that, made America weaker in the face of a World War III scenario. That to where, I mean, if you just listen to today's testimony of Dr. Hill really laying out the Russian threat and what it stands for, I am as anti-war as you get, and yet my position has always been our enemy is Russia. And anybody that thinks otherwise is delusional.
Well, and to a lesser extent, China. Like, they're quite interested in
to me, China is just a
right
puppet of Russia. China, North Korea.
China very much has its own interests in the East. Like, they're tenuous.
China has its own interests. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. And China is a slew of issues within itself. But China really isn't trying to advance its empire. China's trying to advance its political influence, without a doubt. But Russia is actively trying to advance its empire. And if Ukraine were to fall to Russia, it would dramatically change the balance of power, not only in Europe, but across the face of the world. Trump has done is fundamentally dangerous.
We're already losing a lot of our influence in the East.
And who is gaining
a lot of our own power to China?
Who is gaining from the loss of U.S. interest? Well, it's obvious that Russia is, but who is that second one? And you just mentioned them, Ali. Who is stepping in to say, well, the U.S. is inconsistent now? It's China. China is benefiting as much as Russia is benefiting from all of this.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to say something really quick because there was something in the chat, but there was also something you brought up. Discord drama is not to be a part of this conversation tonight. I don't want to hear about it. That means you too, Knock. I told you this at the beginning. I just told somebody in the chat that, and he just walked away. Damn it. All right, I'll talk to him again in a sec. All right, are you back?
Yes, hey, I'm back. I'm sorry. I went and made sure my daughter did her nighttime shot.
All right, so I told you this before the stream started, but I'm going to say it now. Discord drama does not make its way into the stream tonight. As moderator, I don't want to hear about it, and I don't want it starting in the chat. It's already come up twice. So I'm just asking, we can talk about Discord drama on Discord.
Yeah, my fault. My fault. I have made some statements recently that was kind of relevant. But yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, so yeah, no more Discord drama, not in the chat, not in here. That's done. Hard rule. Anybody who brings it up again is getting timed out. All right. So coming back to this discussion, I'm going to open up the floor for AR if she wants to say anything about like her impressions on things, and I'm going to mute and go grab myself something to eat really fast. It's cold, so I'll be right back. But I'd like you guys to kind of discuss amongst yourselves for a moment, and I wanted to give Shay a chance to talk because she hasn't gotten to pipe up all that much.
One of the things that I've found most interesting about the impeachment inquiry so far is the fact that Sondland had to change his testimony in order to corroborate with the other... what's the fucking word?
With the other witnesses, you mean?
Yes, witnesses. Words kind of escape me sometimes.
Sorry.
But yeah, he he had to change his private testimony in order to corroborate with the other witnesses or face what's it called, jail time himself for lying under oath.
Mm-hmm.
What's most interesting about that, however, is the fact that he was seen as the Republicans' like way out of this like impeachment hearing, right? They thought that he would be able to dispel a lot of the, you know, the he thought to be able to somehow like prove Trump in the right. However, because he actually ended up throwing not only Trump but Pence and a lot of his other constituents under the bus with his testimony just yesterday. It was really interesting.
Yeah, and yeah. He did it while while trying to protect himself at the same time, and I thought that was really brought out well today at the hearing.
Dr. Hill said Sondland was involved in a political errand. And I think that's really, really important, because the only reason that Gordon Sondland was involved at all is because he donated $1 million to Trump, and Trump made him an ambassador.
Yeah.
So he literally bought his way in and then said, oh, well, we're going to do this political errand for the president.
Yeah. So real quick, I want to lay out just the impeachment hearings as we've seen them so far. So I have it all listed here. And anybody feel free to pipe in and give your input to each day. So day one, we have Ambassador Taylor and George Kent. Now, these are two bipartisan career officials that both attest to a quid pro quo, but they both set up the traditional national policy in these matters. That was like the most important thing. And you know, I've often been very open about how I have a lot of North Carolina Republicans, especially Trumpers, on my Facebook page. And from every single one of them, day one, I heard this word: boring. That was their word for day one. And I'm like, you know, and it, like, boring, it's over. I mean, from day one, it was like, it was over. And I'm like, seriously, like, this was like the setup of setups, if I've ever seen a setup in my entire life, right?
What I find kind of interesting about that is I notice a lot of like right-wing talking heads on Twitter, people like Styx Hexenhammer 666 and Tim Pool, have all kind of been using that exact same rhetoric. I'm kind of wondering if it's the reason why they're employing that rhetoric in the first place is to get people not to watch the hearing.
Exactly, and that's what it is.
By the way, quick aside, AR, people in the chat are saying your mic's really low. Can you try to turn up your sensitivity, please?
Yeah, I just did. And is that any better?
Oh, like, that's a lot better.
Yeah. All right, my gain is like all the way up now.
I want to address something that was just said in the chat, because this is a Republican talking point that's a blatant lie. GPH said Obama didn't send military aid to Ukraine. Yeah. Trump did. That is a lie.
It's bullshit.
Obama sent armored Humvees. He sent drones. He sent military personnel to help train.
Yeah, we trained 5 battalions of their soldiers under Obama.
Right. It's a blatant fucking lie. Like, it's not even close to the truth. The Republicans keep saying they sent blankets. Yeah, they sent blankets as well. We also sent humanitarian aid because there's a fucking war going on. Russia invaded the Ukraine in 2014 and annexed Crimea. Putin started a war, and people are dying. They are dying today.
Exactly.
Because of what Putin did. And Obama did what he could to help. So this whole Obama didn't send any military aid is complete and utter bullshit.
It is a 100% false talking point. It's what Republicans do.
I do want to point out that GPH is like a very well-known troll. He's never appeared on a live stream. He's been at this for like 6 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
The thing is,
and he's been showing up a lot lately.
I'm just not letting the Republican talking points like sit out there like I want to address them or I'm afraid of them or something.
I'm with you there. That's my whole thing lately. It's like, fuck it. I'm going to defend my positions. Defend yours. Honestly.
Damn straight. Damn straight. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's more than likely just doing it to get a rise.
Yeah. GPH is a troll.
Talked a lot about him.
All right.
I'm still going to fight back because somebody could watch this on the replay.
Exactly.
I think that GPH is point might be valid when it isn't.
Exactly. I mean, we have to understand going through this, like, I really gave, like, the Republican side, especially the Republican counsel, because I'm, like, figuring maybe from a legal standpoint that this dude will actually have some arguments. There was a couple times I'm like, yeah, he made a good point. But outside of that, I mean, every single thing that the Republicans' argument throughout the entire hearings, and it can be summed up simply. I put it on Twitter. Democrats are mean. That's pretty much it. Democrats are mean. They're using the rule changes that we changed when we had power because we're too stupid to realize that we're not going to always have power, and eventually Democrats are going to be able to use the rules that we changed because we had power.
Right. The Republicans changed all the rules, and now the Democrats are playing by them. The Republicans are saying, well, these rules are unfair.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Suck it, bitches. Suck it.
I was half afraid that Democrats, the weak-ass Democrats that I've always known, would be like, do the honorable thing and change the rules back before they actually utilize the fucked up shit that Republicans did. I applaud them for not doing that this time. Thank you. All right, so day 2, we had Yovanovitch. I mean, and...
Real quick, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
One last thing, I'm sorry. GPH, you're goddamn right I'm triggered. This is my fucking country. And I'm not going to let these motherfuckers steal it from me. So yeah, I'm fucking triggered. Deal with it, bitch.
I've been triggered for about 48 hours. I ain't going to lie. I've been triggered since Sondland testified. So.
All right, guys. Guys, this is a reminder that we're trying our best not to throw ad homs. That includes calling somebody a bitch.
I'm sorry. Lying loser. That's better.
This is an open room. If GPH finally wants to get on stream for the first time in 6 years, he could always come on and defend his point.
GPH, you're
welcome. I'm just trying to, this is also proof that I'm a fair mod. If y'all break the rules, I don't care if you're my buddy. Like, I'm friends with all three of you.
Is it really an ad hom if a bitch is a bitch, though?
That's a good point. And also, it's like the royal bitch. It's not like you're a bitch. It's like all the bitches.
I kid.
We want to have at least a semi little bit cordial discussion. I know everybody's pissed off.
I mean, I'm
stressed the fuck out about all of this too. Like, this is worse than Watergate. People are right.
I mean, but like, I'm a public.
Everybody be a little bit nice. Come on.
And sure, Puff like this. You are more than welcome to pop in and contribute. I am currently, where am I at with inviting anybody on anything? I'm out of everything. So, I think you're on my Discord. Ali usually has Discord open, so I'm sure Ali could send you a link on Discord. I think. All right, but we'll deal with that in just 1 second.
If there are any right-wingers that want in, at me, like, join the Discord, at me on Discord. I'm the fucking top admin. It's impossible to miss my name. And I'll let you in so long as you follow the bloody rules, which means no ad homs. If I tell you to shut your face, shut your face. And
yeah, she's holding us leftist to it and shit.
Yeah, if I tell you to shut your face, shut your face. If you don't, I will make you shut your face because I have control over Zoom and can mute your ass here. And the last rule is if you use a slur, I'll kick your ass out of the meeting. Just
definitely.
If you can follow those rules, go ahead and come on.
Is okay boomer counted as a slur?
Boomer is not a slur. Neither is SJW.
Hey GPH, you saying you weren't alive during Watergate? Okay, boomer.
All right.
Agreed.
So if anybody here wants to come on and you actually legit want to defend Trump, go ahead and tag me and I'll let you in. But make sure you follow the fucking rules because if you break them, your ass is out.
And Puff, yeah, you're more than welcome to come in too. Just tag, just get a hold of Ali on Discord. And GPH, just a quick aside before we get into day 2. You don't have to actually have been alive at Watergate to have studied it thoroughly and understand it completely. So to get to day 2, we have Ambassador Yovanovitch, who by all accounts is a stern, staunch career politician who is nonpartisan, has served Republican and Democratic administrations.
George Bush, Obama now?
Yeah. Highly spoken of by every boss she's had. Known for anti-corruption efforts. Smeared by Giuliani, Trump, and Donald Trump Jr. To the point to where Trump removed her, and then we have the situation we have today. And I thought that
If
day
I
two
remember
was.
correctly, she was on the phone call when it happened too.
I'm not quite positive about that. She might have been removed at that point, but I'm not sure. Like, Progressive, do you know anything to that?
I believe she was on the call.
Yeah, she might. Yeah, she could have been.
That's my recollection. I
'Cause
might
it
have
was
that wrong, but
July, right? So that was a while back.
it was July 25th was the call.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
know the person that testified with her was also on the call. They were the
Yes.
first
All
hand
right.
account witnesses.
Right.
Oh, yeah, who
forgot
testified with
his
her
name.
that day? Because I only got Yovanovitch, and I only remember Yovanovitch.
Hey, welcome to the stream,
Vindman.
Puff.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman also.
Yeah.
See, I have
Testified.
Vindman on day 3 with Williams. I think Yovanovitch was by herself on Friday, and then Williams and
fuck, I
Vindman
might
was
have-
on
I
Monday.
might have the two
Oh,
people
yeah,
mixed up.
yeah,
then. I'm really
that's
fucking
right.
bad with names.
That's right, because they were in the afternoon that day. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so guys, give me a half sec. Welcome to the stream, Puff. Which position are you taking? Just as a quick opening statement. You there? You got
You
your
might be muted.
tech issues?
Might need to join with computer audio. Zoom fucktard of all.
Sorry, I had to
Naka.
get my. Is my mic working now?
Yeah. Now
Yep, we can hear you.
What's up, man?
Okay. No, I'm totally pro-Trump. I mean, Fourth Reich in the house, bro. Like,
Absolutely. Me too. I'm convinced now. That's it.
I've-
Make America stupid again or something.
All right, in all seriousness, though, do you want to give a quick opening statement, kind of your opinion on these things before we get back to the timeline real quick?
oh yeah. I just think it's kind of funny because, I don't know what your guys' favorite part. My favorite part of the entire impeachment hearings, where they were feeding the angry Trump tweets to Ivanovich or whatever. I can't remember. I can't never get her name right. But
That's
when they're
exactly
feeding
where we're at right now.
yeah, they were live feeding tweets to her, and they were like, "Would you like to respond?" And she's like, "Sure, I will respond to that because I have no problem repeating the truth. I don't have to think up a new lie every time."
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was
Yeah, that-
excellent.
One of
I
my
thought that was a
favorites
classic
the burn
moment.
from today.
Once we get through the whole timeline I have here, we can all go through our conclusions. I think
But,
I think we'll have some very
my-
interesting conclusions and differing conclusions
I did wanna
probably.
my introduction is this. I have a reasonably good understanding of what's going on in the impeachment right now, but I have an extremely good understanding of the inner workings of what happened during the Watergate. So the Watergate incident, right? So one person that was alive during that time, GPH, and they were there and they regret what they did, was a little known, he wrote a book about it, and he went to prison about it. And so he was a Secret Service agent. He felt bad about it, right? He wrote a whole book about it, about how he felt that he was serving the office of the president. But now looking back at his actions, he's very embarrassed about that, right? Okay, so there was people alive then that were involved in it, and ProLib can correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much what blew the lid off of the Watergate scandal was a janitor.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Noticed a piece of tape on a door frame.
And it shouldn't have been there.
Got
And
curious. Pushed a door open.
Yep.
That's exactly what.
What I find most
The
interesting.
difference between the Watergate scandal and the one current going on right now is like fucking Nixon didn't have to, use a
Keeping
foreign government to spy on the opposition.
Well, before we fall down too far on the Watergate rabbit hole, I want to keep Knock on topic. Knock, finish up your timeline. That way we can kind of get into similarities between the two and differences and where we feel on all that.
And day 2 was a very important day in the impeachment hearings, and it was a day that most Republicans actually stayed silent because they really couldn't argue against Yovanovitch. And the fact that Trump did attack her and try to intimidate her mid-hearing, actually by the letter of the law, committing obstruction of justice in real time for a national audience. I believe 13 million people were watching that day. should have been significant. We'll talk at the end of it whether it was or not. I think the most compelling evidence that she gave was that, clearly Giuliani smeared the reputation of a decorated foreign service agent of our country. And I think that's beyond a doubt. Would anybody disagree with that?
No, not at all.
All right, so
No,
day
not at
3, we have Williams and Vindman. Now, Williams was an interesting character because I think that she might have been somewhat of a reluctant witness, but a truthful one. And
Yep.
she was part of the Pence team. And we have Vindman. And that's all I'm going to say. We'll open it up, and I'll give my opinions later.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman is the American story personified. His father was an immigrant. Lieutenant Vindman was born, I believe, in Ukraine. Came over here, has served. He's a decorated war hero. He was wearing his Purple Heart. The Republicans inferred that there was no reason for him to wear his dress blues at the testimony when that's the fucking rules in the UCMJ. So yeah, he was going to wear his dress blues because he has to. And they asked him, I have the quote. They asked him why he thought that, why he was there to testify. And he said, "This is America. This is the country I've served and defended, that all of my brothers have served. And here, right matters." The truth and the facts are the two most important things that we have in a democracy. Benjamin Franklin, when he was leaving the Constitutional Congress, the Constitutional Congress that put together the Constitution of the United States, a woman asked him, "Doctor, what do we have, a republic or a monarchy?" And he responded, a republic, if you can keep it. Because you don't get to keep a republic for free. You have to be involved, you have to be educated, and you have to worry about the truth and the facts. And when people at the top break the law, you have to hold them accountable. And that's all Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was trying to do. And he's an American fucking hero. Miss Williams, I think I agree with you. I think she was a reluctant witness, but she was truthful because the truth matters. And if we don't respect the truth, we don't have anything anymore.
Yeah, I actually thought Williams' testimony was moving. She definitely backed up the narrative that there was a definite quid pro quo that everybody knew about. I think that she kind of set the groundwork for the Sondland bombshell that came the day after that Pence was definitely involved. But
right, so
I think
I'm
without a
gonna
doubt,
cut it into-
Vindman's testimony was the most moving testimony of that hearing. And the fact that the Republican Party, the party of the patriot, the party of the vet, the party of
No, they aren't.
Murica is going to attack a decorated war veteran for doing his duty shows us without a doubt, like if there was any doubt left after decades of hypocrisy from the right wing, without a doubt that they have completely sold their souls to party over country. Completely.
All right, so I'm going to cut in and be obnoxious and do the co-host thing. Knock forgot to put PL's link in the description of the video, so
I
I'm going to
totally
drop it
did.
in chat.
Oh no.
I'm gonna
when I was
drop it in
making
the
everything,
chat.
I was like, I should do it now because I'm going to forget. And yeah.
And
Fine,
on top of
progressive
dropping it in
liberals.
chat, I'm going to
There you go.
call everybody in the chat out for 30 seconds. We got 26 viewers and 12 likes. What? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
We can do better than that. Even if you're not enjoying the stream, give us a dislike. Get us out of your algorithm.
Viewership is
quick,
down because people
I wanna
don't like
show for
talking
1 second.
politics. They just don't like talking politics because you know what?
I-
What's important doesn't matter.
I want to show for 1 second, though. I'm trying to get to 500
Politics affects
subs.
every aspect of your life.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Okay.
like, PL is woefully undersubscribed. He does a fantastic job chatting with his wife, talking politics with him and his co-host. You know, he talks about relevant issues every single week.
Thank
He
you.
has so few people that watch him on YouTube, and it is a
Thank you.
crime. He does a fantastic job of getting deep into the issues, of doing research. Like, I came on recently, we had a great chat about climate change,
Yeah, we
talking
did.
about, you know, technology and ways to decrease your individual footprint and why that may not matter as much as everyone wants you to think it does. Like, his backlist is worth freaking watching, guys. Like, go give him some love. All right,
And
I
not
got
just
him
a
last minute.
not just a progressive slant, but a fair slant. I found.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
on a side note, also, you may end up looking into his Patreon because he does take very with a strong amount of weight the input from his
I do.
Patreons, people that are taking the time to put the money in behind him to say, hey, what you're already doing is great, here's $1 a month to thank you for that. But he doesn't just say, oh, thanks for the dollar, I'm gonna fuck off to the chicken sandwich store now. He's like,
Thank you.
he listens to our criticism, our feedback, and criticism isn't necessarily just a bad thing. It's positive and it's negative, right?
Yep.
um,
Yep.
he listens to the things we like. He listens to the things we don't like. Now, if your suggestion is more cat videos, that's probably going to go in the round file bin.
I mean, it might
But
happen.
he might bring a cat and replace the neon sign with a cat.
I was actually attacked by my
I'm
cat
jealous.
on stream last night, and if you weren't watching, you missed it.
Well, I was-
So
I'm
for
jealous.
me,
I love my patrons, but like I I totally try to like get my patrons like, yeah, give me suggestions, and they're like, love you, knock.
So I just wanted to take a quick chance to plug for PL because PL is a fantastic dude and like he needs more love and he needs more
Yeah,
people in his damn chat.
My goal is to get to 500 subs by the end of the year. I'm at 423. So if there's 67 people out there that are nice and could give me that nice round number, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's get them to 1,000.
And plus on top of it, like our viewership is pretty damn engaged. We get tons and tons and tons of bits on the and comments and such, which next time we do a political streams on Sticks and Stonehenge, I'm going to have to grab you over there, PL, because I have a feeling you'd have a lot of fun talking with us.
And I enjoy all of
you've
my
got an
comments.
interesting perspective.
I love all of my comments. I just love you all of you trolls. I just love you all. But yeah, go ahead, Allie.
So anyway, that's all I cut in to be obnoxious about. We can get back to the timeline, but I scrolled down and I realized it wasn't there, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna interrupt the stream and make everybody listen to me for 30 seconds." So we
Thank you very
feel
much.
some love.
Thank you.
All right, go. Now that I'm done abusing my power for my friends, go ahead, Knock.
Yeah, well, so day 3, we had Vinmans and Williams, and I mean, by all accounts, all 3 days of this testimony lays out the President of the United States clearly committing bribery. I mean, let's just be honest. He's committing bribery on a newly elected president of the Ukraine using the United States position.
Okay, it's extortion,
to gain advantage,
not bribery. He would be bribery would be him bribing the president of Ukraine. He's not bribing the president of Ukraine.
Well, the case that's being made, and the case that's being talked about, Ali, is actually bribery because the $400 million of aid.
Well,
but the thing is, though, is I would say it's probably closer to extortion because the $400 million of aid was already allocated for them, and he was withholding it. So that's more like you know, unless you do this thing, then you won't get it.
I think they're probably going for both.
Okay,
honestly,
PL is trying to talk.
Here's the thing: you're both right, and here's why. It is extortion, but bribery is specifically listed in the Constitution alongside the impeachment clause. Bribery or other high crimes and misdemeanors is how it reads. So that's why there's a bribery case, and there's also the extortion part of it.
Okay, that's fair. So it's technically both.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. So, and then we come to Sondland. This to me, before it ever started, I tweeted on Twitter, and I'm not a big Twitter guy, so I don't tweet much. I'm either trolling or I'm, promoting a video or something. But I don't get on Twitter too often. But I felt the need to tweet, and I said that this is the day, the Democrats' day. This is the day that they had to get the public demanding the testimony of the people the White House were withholding. Now, I think that they did that day 4, and I don't think that they did it. I think Sondland himself did it, and I think he did it trying to protect himself. I think it was clearly a case that Sondland decided, and it was like a Republican worst scenario for day 4, was that Sondland decided not to protect the president. He was going to protect himself and just threw everybody under the fucking bus. So, yeah, I'll open it up right there.
I think that is the case because what's crazy is that Trump tried to float this thing that Sondland's trying to become famous off of this, right? Like trying to get like some kind of because
He's
I
gonna
remember when
assassinate anybody that
right,
goes against his
I mean,
narrative.
I'm with Trump. I remember that he was on Sondland was on Dancing with the Stars. Oh wait, no, that was Trump's former employee.
Oh God.
I do want to see that though. I would
I
actually.
forgot his name.
Wait,
I
Sondland
forgot his
just
name,
got
but I know who you're
hired.
talking about.
Sean Spicer.
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
Sondland just got hired.
Guys, take one at a time. Puff, you can go. Then AR can go.
But
then-
it's just
then
so
Neil can go.
hilarious.
Sorry, but Sondland, he just got that job working for CNN as a paid correspondent. Oh wait, no, that was the former spokesman that got hired by Fox, right? Okay, ProLib, help me go through this line of employees that of jobs that Sondland got for this.
I mean, let's face it, we've had now 2 or 3 different Trump donors that either expected to get into a position. There was one in particular. Do you guys remember the scandal that happened a couple months back? Yeah, I know there's a fuckload of them, where the guy who signed off on one of the big ass loans for the Trump administration expected to get a position and actually turned up for work because he was apparently promised one in the White House, or at least, quote, allegedly understood that he had been promised one.
Yes.
For having approved that loan, despite the fact that it was clear that Trump did not have the income he needed to get it.
Yes.
So wait, yeah, I guess that's now the at least second or third employee that I have heard that got into their position because of some form of bribery.
that was
Okay,
Sondland that signed off on the loan, right?
It wasn't Sondland, no. It was a different.
Okay.
That person
It
was
one of
actually
Trump's
not given a
guys.
job.
I forgot.
That person was not actually given a job, but they turned up at the Ministry of Defense, I want to say,
Something like that.
and said
Harry
that they
Potter?
were reporting for work because I guess it had been made clear to them that they were going to get this position.
So there's not really one of the biggest places that we need to work on in our system is how people get diplomatic posts.
Agreed.
Frequently throughout administrations, going back to fucking probably Adams, I don't know. People who donate to campaigns are first in line to get ambassadorships. That's how politics has worked. I don't like it, but that's how politics has worked.
There is a difference here,
against...
Progressive. I'll point it out when you're done.
There is. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely a huge difference. I'm just saying, usually people aren't giving millions of dollars either. Usually it's somebody that like is a bit of a social butterfly and knows a lot of other rich people and like works a lot during the campaign to like raise a lot of money. It's not usually like, let me pay you $1 million and you can make me an ambassador. That's the difference. Oh shit. That's the difference with Sondland. You had
gesticulating so wildly, you're knocking shit over on your desk.
Yeah.
God, PL, you are triggered.
And not just that, Progressive. Not just that, but like usually these political appointees, as they're called. So you have your career people, and then you have your political people. These political people are usually appointed to ambassadorships of no matter countries, like say like fucking Cambodia or some shit, right?
Right.
Not the EU in the time of Brexit, right? Right.
Right. So that's where I was going to go next is the number of people that get appointed this way in any normal administration is usually very low. There's usually like a couple of them, like Naka said, that are, to fucking the Bahamas or something. Usually somebody at that kind of post would be somebody like Yovanovitch or Williams, like somebody who's a career person at the State Department, a career person in diplomacy who understands a certain realm. And then the person gets elected and they get a list from the State Department. Hey, who are some career officials that know the EU really well? Well, here's a list of 10. Okay, let's vet all 10 of them. Okay, well, this person, is the best for us, and that's who we'll put forward or appoint, whatever it is. The way in which Trump is doing it is not, I'm not going to say that it's like super weird, because it's not super weird, but it's weird.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you can admit it, man. We all saw the video. It's a flip cup contest.
Cornhole. Just whoever wins cornhole down at the tailgate. That'll do it.
That's just the semifinals.
So I do want to let something be known that Sondland was actually appointed by Trump. I'm not sure exactly how he got his position.
Well, he contributed $1 million to
donations.
Trump's campaign right before the inauguration, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
it was
so
it was to
inauguration.
one of the PACs for Trump's
Right.
campaign because it's illegal to contribute a bunch of money directly. But Naka, how close are we to getting to the end of that timeline? Because we keep going off into tangents.
We're close.
Kinda...
This is what I kind of wanted, though, because, I mean, each day was kind of like a revelation. And each day, I mean, as we get through this, was, to me, the brilliant part of each day of the hearings. And this is going to surprise people when we actually get to conclusions and we draw conclusions. Because my conclusion might surprise people. But each day, we had, like, this explosion of Republican talking points. So the day before, they would say this. And then we get to the next day's hearing, and that talking point would just be fucking destroyed. I mean, it was beautiful. Sadly, Republicans don't care about truth.
Right.
We live in a post-truth society.
And we live in a society filled with alternative facts.
Alternative facts. Yeah. That's our big joke on the show is alternative whatever. We do that all the time. Like, you know, I'm drinking alternative water today.
It's all in how you interpret the truth.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah,
whether
I mean,
or not President Obama
Trump's response to Sondland's testimony, and this blew me the fuck away, it was perfect. It helped me. And guess what? He made it help him. That bastard, that idiot, he's like the idiot whisperer. And every time he talks, idiots follow, right? I mean, it's just weird.
Something. Yeah, you know, Devin Nunes, who's the minority ranking member. So there's the majority member. I'm sorry, the chairman of the committee is from the majority. The ranking member is from the minority. And Devin Nunes every single day would just be like, "This is a circus, and the TV ratings are low, and nobody cares, and everybody's bored, and crowd strike." Biden, Burisma, I yield my time. And he'd be like, what did he just say?
What he said was a bunch of word salad that sounds like something to people who are waiting for certain trigger
If you haven't
really,
seen it, if you haven't seen
if
it,
you actually listened,
Buzzwords.
Naka, can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you actually listen to some of the talking points on shows like Fox and Friends or like even any of the individual pundits, it's almost hypnotic the way that certain phrases and certain words are repeated over and over in a certain I guess tone. Like there's not a lot of substance to a lot of the coverage on these channels, and like there's a lesser degree of this on some of the more liberal channels, but like you really see this hardcore on places like Fox and Friends.
Right.
Like it's this constant, almost drumbeat level of the same exact words and talking points until you're lulled into this almost alpha state just listening to it. And so if you say enough of those to the people who are listening for them, it sounds like something to them because they've heard a version of it on their favorite show the night before, but it sounds like gibberish to us.
It's exactly what Nazi Germany did
to
change the media conversation in Germany. It's exactly what they did.
Thank you to the chat. Thank you to the chat. Preaching cadence.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
the right wing has an unproved counter narrative, and they use these buzzwords to, reinforce that narrative.
Correct.
But as I was saying, like if you guys haven't seen it, so when Sondland's testimony ended, Schiff threw it to Nunes. Nunes, do you have any remarks? And Nunes didn't, and they went straight to a 5-minute recess. If you haven't seen the look on Nunes' face, I highly urge everybody to go and fucking look at it. Because it tells the whole story. It tells the truth of the Republican narrative destroyed, but yet somehow they would rebound. So we'll continue with
it. And he's like, and like leans back in his chair like,
it is fucking hilarious.
If you want a good primer on Devin Nunes, we did a show, why Devin Nunes is suing a cow on Twitter. He is. You should go and watch my channel. We did an hour on why Devin Nunes is suing a cow on Twitter.
Fucking slap suits.
And you should watch it.
Yeah, and the most brilliant thing about today's hearing was how a Democratic congressperson brought into light how Nunes is directly linked to Les Parnas, who is sitting in a jail right now. But that wasn't the end of day 4, because after Sondland we had Cooper and Hale, Now, Hale was supposed to be the Republican star witness. But in my opinion, all Hale really did was say they smeared Yovanovitch and it was bullshit.
Yes, I completely agree. That's exactly what I was going to say.
It like totally backfired against him, right?
Yeah, well, and he would just be like, I don't have any information on that. I don't have because he didn't. The only thing that he knew was that they were smearing the shit out of Yovanovitch. That's all he knew. And he'd be like, yeah, I don't know. Thanks. Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah. The I don't recall seems to be like a very repetitive cop out a lot of these people use when they're under test.
It's legal speak, AR. It is a way to lie and not lie, basically.
Actually lie, yeah.
But what's funny
even if they were successful in like smearing Yovanovitch, you still had all of these firsthand accounts, like Williams, who I earlier mixed up with Yovanovitch, and Lieutenant Vindman, who were there at the call. They were there when they were setting up this quid pro quo months in advance. There would have been no way. There's absolutely no way to get around it. He's definitely guilty.
Yeah. There's not really much else to say.
I think that after the hearings, I don't think that there's like any really shred of doubt of anybody looking at the hearings just openly without bias that President Trump is guilty of what he's being accused of. Whether it's impeachable, that's a debate. But he's fucking guilty. And I don't even really think whether it's impeachable is a debate, honestly, but they're going to say it is.
I mean, is it a high crime or misdemeanor? You know, you can break down whether it was a crime or whether it was just a misdemeanor. Either way, both things are impeachable.
Yeah, and
there you go.
As I was trying to lay out last night, in a positive part of the conversation last night, not to bring shit up from last night, but like as I was trying to lay out last night, like there is this aspect too that these are senators when it goes to the Senate. Now I'm deeply like today I got some information. We'll talk about that when we get to our conclusions. Information that came out that Lindsey Graham's doing, like they're ready for a full trial. We'll get into that shit. But there is this element. They are senators and they are an equal branch of government. And are they willing to give a president this power? And I got into that conversation last night, and I was very hopeful last night, and I'm not so hopeful today. But so day 5 today, we had Dr. Hill, who Republicans really didn't like because, I mean, she is the premier expert on Russia, and they've just been totally like justifying everything Russia does. And that we had Mr. Holmes, who like just pretty much verified Sondland's most credible parts of his testimony, but then just totally threw the wrench into the whole aspect of Sondland not knowing that Burisma equated to Biden.
Yeah. So here's what I would say about today's testimony. I am hashtag Fiona Hill fan club.
Me too.
She has been a U.S. citizen since 2002. She grew up in England. She said she grew up with an accent in England that made her sound like she was poor. And that matters a lot in England, in certain areas of England when she was growing up. And came here, and she's been a successful career official. She's worked under George W. Bush, Obama, and Trump. And she basically took no shit today. I said that she got her doctorate of history at Harvard, and she minored in not taking bullshit.
Yeah, she took no shit.
She was exquisite. Yeah, she was exquisite today, and I love her.
Me too. Like my favorite part was I can't remember the Republican dude's name. He's the Army surgeon that has brought it up every day of the hearing. I'm an Army surgeon. And I went to Iraq and blah blah blah.
Dr. Wenstrom.
Yeah, the doctor dude. My favorite response to her of her hearing was to him when she was like just totally like, in all due respect, you were so eloquent, but here, let me just totally trash every argument you just fucking made, you fucking asshole. But I love that you were so eloquent in being an asshole.
Right. Yeah, she tore him apart. And we got to a point with the Republicans today where they stopped asking questions. They would get their 5 minutes. They would make a bunch of statements. In fact, Adam Schiff asked, I think Jim Jordan at one point, he's like, do you have a question for the witness? Like, you've just been talking for 3 minutes. And then Jordan finally asked a question, like with 2 seconds left. And what's his face? The guy that testified today with
Holmes.
her. Holmes was trying to answer, and Jordan would just keep talking over him. And Chairman Schiff is like banging the gavel, like, dude, you have to let him answer your question. And he would get another 3 words in, and Jordan would just start talking over him again. The Republicans aren't interested in the facts. They aren't interested in what actually happened. They're interested in pushing a narrative. And you brought up Lindsey Graham, which we'll talk about, but they're just interested in pushing a narrative right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And AR, Puffalufgus, even Ali, if you guys want to pipe in, please do, because we are at the end of the timeline, and we will start drawing some conclusions. And if you don't know about the news today,
I don't have much to
maybe
say
you
about
want to
this
like
testimony. I've been busy most of the day. I had volunteer work and stuff for the homeless shelter.
So maybe real quick, just look up a quick video of Lindsey Graham subpoenaing the State Department for what was it? All the documents involving how Biden Hunter got his. We'll get there. Does anybody have anything to say about day 5?
Is
Oh, I was gonna say.
So I'll cede the floor over to Puff and AR if they want to talk, since I've gotten lots of points in and I've been able to step in whenever I damn well please. I have some comments about today's stuff because I watched about maybe half to 2/3 of it, but I'll save my comments for a little bit. Let you guys do a little bit of discussion first, because I've been stepping in a little more than I need to as mod anyway.
I guess is where my long memory comes in. You remember that Lindsey Graham, Lindsey Lohan, as I call him, Lindsey Graham. He called in the very beginning, 2015, right? What did he call Donald Trump? Called him he called him a stupid person, but he also called him.
They despised each other.
He said that he had no morals, that he was a corrupt, immorally and ethically corrupt individual. All these things, right?
He said, if we elect or if we nominate Donald Trump, it will destroy our party, is what he said.
Yes. And now, right, he's on board. Why? Because he found out it doesn't matter. He forgot that it doesn't matter if they can get to your voter base. It's if they get to your donor list.
Yep.
And Trump's got his donor list right there. So he put his balls in the vice and he started crushing them in the vice, right? And it only took Lindsey Graham's voice a little high pitched. It only took a second for that to happen. He was in it. He was like, no. He's like, I only do that behind closed doors, me and you by ourselves. But he was like, I'll play the game, right? No problem, Prez. I'll play the game. And he has been full on for it. So when you said, you were like, I don't think these senators would give it up. Oh, dude, the thing is, the senators don't have to kowtow to the people at home. That's only if the Democrats can wake some folks up. They can get an independent out there, wake some people up, catch them on a day off or something, right. It's got to go to work. People that really care, they also have to pay the bills. Or they're trying to make their community better. You see Shay's out here helping at homeless centers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? This is people that care are out there doing things. They don't really have a lot of spare time, right? And so the people with a lot of spare time don't really care. They're watching Fox News all day. So that's the thing.
Yeah,
they're ready to get their donors back, and they don't care about the voters. The voters aren't spending money. You see any small donor campaigns from the Republican side? It ain't happening.
I agree.
So they got
the voters have given their power away, and the politicians on both sides of the aisle take advantage of it.
And they also understand this, right? What's the problem in most Republican states is that if the GOP as a body decides to run someone against you and they put the funding behind that guy, there's a good chance you're going to lose everything, because most of those states are winner take all on the Republican side. You don't get a few delegates here, a few delegates there. They take everything from that state and you get shut out.
Yeah. And Trump has raised money in phenomenally record numbers. So I mean, the senators basically are doing the bidding. The senators are doing the will of the person that's writing their check and has all of the money. I mean, Trump has raised more money, as far as I understand, more money than any politician has ever raised, honestly. It's crazy.
That's only one component. Oh, I'm sorry, Leah.
I just wanted to cut in. I just got really, really bad news. Remember when I said we'd rushed one of our baby rats to the hospital?
I'm really sorry.
I apologize.
They just passed away. Apparently it was the run to the litter, and apparently they scanned it and found out that it was a he. Again, they're also young, their genitalia aren't showing yet, because rats look very similar down there until their balls drop or don't.
Right.
But yeah, our little baby rat just passed away. Apparently it was the run to the litter and was pulled too soon from weaning, so that's why he was so sick. So we only have 3 now, and I just wanted to kind of let everybody know that was here at the beginning, that's what I just found out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ellie.
I'll let everybody go back to the discussion, but I need to take a sec to kind of process that.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
What I was gonna say.
I'm really sorry, Ellie. Just real quick, my take on Dr. Hill. So Dr. Hill was there pretty much to put a stamp in this whole Ukraine conspiracy, how Ukraine meddled so-called in our elections. Now, as I put on Twitter today, I got in a little argument.
Are you mixing Russia up with the Ukraine?
Well, no, they say that because certain political leaders of Ukraine during the 2016 election supported Hillary Clinton vocally, that means that they meddled in our election. It doesn't.
All right,
it clearly means that like 5 or 6 political leaders of Ukraine supported Hillary Clinton. They have that right. They're human beings. They have a right to a political opinion. Our intelligence community, all of them, said that Russia, not Ukraine, meddled in our elections. And Dr. Hill was there to pretty much tell the Republican senators that have been pushing this conspiracy theory along with Donald Trump that it actually comes from Putin himself. That every time they peddle this conspiracy theory, and this is going to lead into this whole Lindsey Graham discussion we're going to get into, every time they peddle this conspiracy theory, they are helping Putin. And I trust Dr. Hill, who might be the foremost expert on Russia that we have working for our government. So, so I'll open it up again to day 5.
Putin's
okay, so
money into all these people's offshore bank accounts, so there's no record of it.
That's what I was going to say.
Guys, just a game theory.
Well, what I was going to say is that they figured out now that if they break enough laws, they do enough illegal stuff like repetitively over and over and over, it takes the feds so long to catch up to them. They can just pump all kind of illegal money into these people's like accounts and like their campaigns. They can just pump all the money they want in illegally.
And they already have. I think today, I can't remember the dude's name. It's one of the lower Democratic senators at the end of the hearing. Brought in how Devin Nunes himself is linked to Les Parnas and this whole, Les Parnas contributing to Republicans for Ukraine. They're bought. I think the Washington Post and the New York Times have both reported on how the Russians have been supporting the Republican Party for years now.
But you didn't say it how he says his name. Parnas. Les Parnas.
Parnas.
He only said that after he got picked for the super secret agent mission.
Yeah, and nobody can really tell like if his like cooperation is designed or not. Like because a lot of things because he's definitely corroborating with investigators, and Giuliani's probably going to be arrested. I think that goes without a doubt. But nobody can really understand like is Les Parnas's cooperation designed? Is it meant to stir? Is it meant to lead people in the wrong? There's some questions around his cooperation. I'll just put it that way.
Did you read what his attorney said on why he decided to cooperate?
I don't think so.
Because Giuliani said that he did not know Parnas or the other guy. He had never met them. And the fact that he would deny knowing Parnas hurt his feelings so deeply as a friend that he felt that it was all a ruse, it was all a sham, and that he better turn on Giuliani now because Giuliani was never truly his friend, and he just used him. But because it hurt his feelings, that's why he snitched on Giuliani.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah. The thing is with Giuliani and well, let me talk about Lindsey Graham first. So what we're going to have articles of impeachment. The timeline that I've seen today is that they'll be filed sometime before Christmas.
All right, so before we move past that, Progressive, do you think that they should be filed before then? I personally think that now, like, my conclusion of today is that Democrats should wait. I think that Democrats should demand Pompeo. They should demand Bolton especially. They should demand the documents, and they should wait out the process to go through court with it and try to expedite that process. Because I think that if they go to the Senate, they're going to lose.
Here's the issue. We have 2 working weeks between now and Christmas because everybody's off next week. And then you've got your 2 weeks and then you're breaking for Christmas. The issue is if you wait, you're talking about mid-January before you get started.
I'm down for it at this point. I'm willing to wait to have a chance to make the key players testify, to make Pompeo testify under oath, to make Mulvaney testify under oath, to make all of them testify under oath, to get those documents that they've been hiding. I think that that's the smart play because I do not think we had that moment to where now the public's yammering for them to testify, like we should have after Sondland. Honestly, we should have. But Republicans somehow rebounded. They somehow got their talking points on. Trump came out and said it was perfect. He does what he does. We need those testimonies.
I want nothing. I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo.
Somebody said what he wrote there in his notebook sounded like a Ramones song, and I thought that was very
Has anybody seen the picture of it? I mean, the letters are so big, like he can't read, right?
It's like fucking 72-point font, all in Sharpie.
GPH brings up a good point. I do want Hunter Biden to testify. Why not?
So do I. So do I.
Let's get Hunter in there. Let's get fucking
Ivanka. We can bring Ivanka in to talk about nepotism.
I think the main star witness that we need to hear from is Donald Trump under oath in Congress.
So here's a good question: do you think he might have suffered a heart attack, or do you think he?
I think it was a stroke. I don't think it was a heart attack. I think it was a stroke.
I think it was one of the two. I think it was either a minor stroke or a minor heart attack, and they're just covering it up. Which I think honestly, a Democratic president would probably do the same thing.
So wait, you're telling me under an X-ray he doesn't have a Superman S under his chest?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The White House physician doesn't travel with the president. That sums up there.
These are Twitter meme references if you didn't know.
Yeah, if you need to be following AR and I on Twitter. ProLib Show and AR, what's your Twitter?
The Atheist Star. The handle's going to change soon, but if you follow me on that, you're square.
But you need to. Anyway, here's my point. To answer your question, Naka, I see where you're coming from. The issue is, do you want to stew the pot, or do you want to stir the pot, or do you just want to serve dinner?
Can we trust the Republicans to have a fair trial?
No. Of course, that's what Lindsey Graham's entire thing
announcement was. Did Democrats do enough to sway popular opinion to force Republicans to impeach?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Unfortunately, while I think the testimony is pretty concrete, Republicans aren't gonna flip.
We know that 30% is not gonna flip. Did we get enough of those? That 15%. That's what matters, right?
GPH, the defense is allowed during the trial in the Senate, which hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, just know the process, dog.
You don't understand the process of how impeachment works. Great. Go read a goddamn book. In fact, I'll tell you what. I have 3 videos, the impeachment of Donald Trump, part 1, 2, and 3 on my channel. Go watch them. You'll learn exactly how impeachment works. What started this impeachment starts all the way back in 2014 with Ukraine. You should go watch it. 3 hours. You'll educate yourself. I see what you're saying, But also, we've got the knife so deep right now. I don't want to pull it out at all.
That is the argument, yeah.
Fucker.
We just move forward, and hopefully, like with our minority in the Senate, that we can prove our case. But they will have control over the witnesses they bring in. We've seen what Lindsey Graham today. So for those in the audience that don't know the news today, Lindsey Graham filed papers with the State Department to get all of the documentation surrounding Hunter Biden and Joe Biden's role in getting him the job on Burisma. Now, I 100% guarantee the State Department will deliver all of those papers, unlike they have done for Congress.
Absolutely.
Here's my question to that, though.
Absolutely.
Why the hell is Biden even relevant? Everybody knows he's just going to fade into some obscurity.
Well, so I'm mixed here, AR. I'm mixed here. So I'm clearly against the oligarchy, and I'm clearly against the elite class handing riches to their children. I'm against it. I am like totally with Republicans. Like, yeah, let's investigate that shit. If there was wrongdoing, I am totally for putting Democrats in prison, just like I am for putting Republicans in prison. I'm totally for it, but it needs to be a fair process. And it seems to me that they're really trying to make Hunter Biden a scapegoat and a sacrifice.
Does he even have like any like position? Does he hold any position of power right now?
Well, no, he definitely got millions of dollars from Burisma. There's no doubt about that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, he was getting paid like $50,000 a month or something.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with Joe Biden. I'm going to tell you about some breaking news that just happened at a rally that he's holding right now. An undocumented immigrant just told Biden at a town hall in Greenwood, South Carolina, that she has a hard time trusting him on immigration when he has defended the 3 million deportations under Obama. Biden responded by telling her to vote for Trump.
Oh my fucking God.
That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
And I predicted this like at the very beginning of everything. Like I don't worry about Biden because Biden is gonna put his foot in his mouth and he's gonna lose it himself like every single time he's ever ran for president.
Right. There's a reason that he's run for president like 3 times and hasn't gotten the nomination. Idiot. So yeah, I agree with you. If Hunter Biden and Joe Biden did something wrong, put him in jail.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, the Republicans are going to use the foil in the trial. We know that.
Well, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Progressive. They did investigate this, right? And nothing was found.
Right. I mean, as soon as Joe Biden announced his candidacy for president, Hunter Biden stepped down.
Yeah. And this has been investigated. So it is
nothing going on.
Conspiracy theory. Now, I'm not here to say that all conspiracy theories are wrong. If you want to investigate it, sure. You know, you can find out what they found out before, or maybe you'll find new information. Who knows?
I'm going to plug myself again. The impeachment of Donald Trump, part 1. We spend half an hour talking about Biden and Burisma and the whole history. Like, there's no secrets. You know everything.
And that's like the fundamental difference between us and them, right? Like we hold our own to account. Like we're not afraid to like you did wrong, you're out, go to prison.
Right. Yeah, look how quick we kicked Al Franken out for a picture of him miming grabbing a woman's boob.
Yeah, when he was a comedian.
Right. You know, he did a lot of other shit, but I'm just, you know.
I'm of the personal opinion that we jumped the gun on Franklin.
We did. But the issue is, are the Republicans going to convict? I don't know. I see different arguments from different people on Twitter all the time. People that I respect, lawyers and political scientists and journalists. I get swayed back and forth 3-4 times a day. I have no.
I really don't think he's going to get removed from office. Like, Republicans are going to try and keep power.
I think he's going to quit. The man has quit marriages. He has quit businesses. His entire life, he quits things. He's going to quit the presidency.
He's going to ride it out. He's only got like 8 months left.
I think he's going to quit. I really think he's
I do want to say,
I don't think he'll leave
the job
if he loses.
ends in July.
I seriously don't think he'll leave.
Guys, everybody's talking over each other again. AR, then Naka.
I do really want to say, though, that I think that Democrats during the after the primary and stuff, they can really use this to hammer against Trump and hopefully use the impeachment inquiry to
he's
bring down his chances.
Oh yeah, he's super damaged in general. And the other thing is, there's been 2 elections in the past month. Both times, Trump has gone the night before to try to rally up his base, and the Democrats have won in both of them. So
Yeah.
Trump isn't even good at like bringing out the base anymore. Trump's good at bringing out Democrats to vote against the Republican that Trump is endorsing.
Didn't Kentucky go blue?
Yes, Kentucky went blue. The entire Virginia legislature is now blue for the first time ever since Virginia's been like a Commonwealth. Yeah, so
Texas is even like.
Yeah, I made this
It's
argument
not there
last
yet,
night.
but it's getting there.
I keep bringing this shit up. I'm sorry. I won't bring that up. I said this last night and I got in trouble. I'm just gonna put it that way.
Let's not bring up the drama.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the more powerful moments for me was toward the end of the impeachment hearings today. I don't remember what her name was, but there was a congresswoman who stepped forward. No, it wasn't Dr. Hill. It was the congresswoman who was talking to her.
Oh,
she said
the Republican lady. I call her I call her Miss Griffin. I believe.
I think so, but she
That's
she
not her
said,
name. That's what I call her.
Like they were talking about specifically, and she seemed very much on the warpath. She was asking a bunch of questions that were targeted at showcasing that Trump had done something wrong, which I thought was interesting. But she said, that politics change, but America's interests don't. And in one of the most brilliant digs at the Trump administration I've ever heard, she said, at least when it comes to the true public servants, those who have the country's interests at heart. And I think that that's kind of what this trial is about. This trial is about whether or not this administration and its cronies have America's best interests at heart, or whether they're just out for themselves. And it has become explosively, blatantly obvious that this administration is going to do everything in its power to keep the power that it is amassed, that it is very much a, fascist, like populist near dictatorship, that he has surrounded himself with people that are loyal to him and not the country.
Right.
And the officials in his administration that are loyal to the country over him are coming out, stepping out, speaking out, and trying to put a stop to this train wreck before it takes America with it.
I agree.
I agree. I think that the thing about the Republican Party is they don't care. And last night I was so hopeful. That was like honestly the good part of last night's conversation.
If they lose power, they lose like their.
Today I'm just not like what this Lindsey Graham.
If they lose
thing.
power, it hurts their bottom line, and they want they want that money coming in.
This Lindsey Graham thing, and the fact that Donald Trump himself, because the reporting coming out is that the White House, Donald Trump's administration, wants a full trial. I think that Democrats might have. I think that if Democrats don't try to expedite a court process to make the high officials testify, that we are actually playing into Donald Trump's hands. That is my belief today.
I agree. I agree. It can't be a show trial. It has to be. The rules have to be followed to the letter. And got to present the evidence. I genuinely don't think that impeachment will end up in his removal. I think that Trump is going to resign. I do. I just think that Trump's going to quit. It's what he does. It's what he's always done.
I hope so. That's my personal.
Well, and the thing is like Rilla earlier in the chat, like way earlier, brought up a point, and that is like, how much more terrified should we be of Pence? And do we think that Pence is going to get implicated in a lot of this? Because as the vice, there's no way he didn't fucking know.
I'll answer that.
There's no way he didn't know.
I'll answer that. And for one, Pence is directly implicated after Sondland's testimony.
Yes.
But for two, I would be worried about Pence being an elected president. Pence being a lame duck president after a president's removed, I wouldn't be too worried about him.
Yeah, he'll be so damaged for the general.
I'll be right back.
He'll have people running against him and trying to primary him and stuff. You've already got Governor Weld and you've got Joe Walsh both running for president on the Republican side. So that's going to help split the vote.
I would really love it if one of these like Republican figures like run as an independent and split the vote that way.
Yeah,
they have no fucking chance.
I've been a political scientist for a long time. And my political calculus worked real well until 2016, and it hasn't worked great since. Everything.
As long as they're a popular independent candidate, that's all that
Yeah.
matters. Not like a 3% or like a 2% like Gary Johnson and Jill Stein.
Oh yeah,
I don't think he's even going to try to run again because he's done. He's done with the effort, right? Like
I think he's a prideful enough idiot that if he doesn't get kicked out of office from this impeachment, he probably will. I have a feeling that he probably will if he doesn't get removed from office by this impeachment. But I would be absolutely shocked.
He's going to keep going because giving up would hurt his pride too much. We all know he's a prideful monster.
I personally don't think he'll quit. Not only do I not think he'll quit, I don't think he'll leave if he loses the 2020 election.
Wow. Well, my thing is, I don't think so.
I think he wants to start Trump TV. And I think he wants to take on Fox News with like an alt-right TV.
I mean, he looked dejected as fuck when it was announced that and I'm not going to say the American people voted him in because we didn't. Hillary won by 1.5 million votes. When the Electoral College voted him in, he looked dejected as fuck when he walked up to the podium and took the thing. He didn't want to win. He just wanted the publicity.
And not to mention because they're so afraid of this whole illegitimate presidency argument because it's actually a true argument. So the only other time. And correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe it happened before, but the only other time in history to where the Electoral College actually elected a president over the popular vote was back when Bush did it over Al Gore, and we counted those Florida votes. We know that Bush didn't actually win that election. So the fact that he had this landslide Electoral College win with such a this was a bigger difference than the Al Gore George Bush vote in the popular vote. To me, that's highly suspect that something irregular happened in this last election.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who you talk to, it was somewhere between 80,000 and 140,000 votes that decided it.
Well, I mean, for one thing, you've got the superdelegates, and the superdelegates primarily voted in Trump's favor over Hillary, so there was that.
I mean, just think about it though. Like we've counted those Florida votes. We know Al Gore actually won that election. So the only other time that the Electoral College actually elected a president, it didn't actually do it, and this time it did overwhelmingly. On what you said, 70 to 140,000 votes, but that Electoral College came through for Trump.
Right, barely. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he can win again. Here's the thing. Trump has not, we were told when he was coming to office, he was going to pivot, right? At some point, we're going to get the pivot. He's going to become presidential. He's going to reach out to the middle.
All presidents go to the middle, right?
Right. He's never, ever done that. The only thing he's worried about is his base. I don't think he can win with his base twice. I just don't think he can do it.
I had this argument last night, and the argument given to me by a very smart guy was that the evangelical vote elected Trump once, and it'll do it again. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, let Puff talk, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Puff.
Puff and PL, like you talked over both of them.
Sorry. Yeah, I do that. Sorry.
What I was going to say is I hope that you're right. I hope that he does get, something happens from this impeachment or he decides to quit or something. I don't believe either one of those is going to happen. I know that the Democrats didn't do what they needed to do to convince the populace that this needs to happen because I'm telling you right now, TMZ could kick the door open to the Oval Office, catch Donald Trump and Putin shirtless doing lines of cocaine off of Ivanka Trump's stomach, and they would still be like, "What did he do wrong?"
Yeah, he does have like a very sycophantic base that won't sway.
No
matter what.
Sorry, Air. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Air. I've been talking over you. Go ahead.
And so, what I was going to say is, I hope that, like ProLib said, is that we have that big old long knife, and that knife is long enough, even with all that extra evidence, we can stack on top like weight that Knock is bringing up. Because I feel that we're going to end up in a Hotel California situation, man. We're stabbed the steely knives stab the beast with our steely knives, but it still wasn't enough.
All right, so I've been playing somewhat of a bit of a devil advocate role. I am highly skeptical. I 100% think that the Democrats should.
Which one of you is not muted and is typing? I'm pretty sure it's AR. AR, please mute your mic.
Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't me this time. I am 100%. I feel in my soul after seeing the Republican narrative today that we should wait and force Pompeo and Bolton especially to testify. But I am playing somewhat of a devil's advocate because I do have hope. I think I'm with progressive liberal, actually. I think that these Republican senators, even though they're shitty and even though they play partisan politics 99.9% of the time, I think that when it comes time to vote, that their conscience is going to tell them that, for one, they've known all along that Donald Trump is shit, and for two, that history is going to record this moment. And in their conscience, I hope that they will do the right thing.
Here's an interesting
By the way,
fact,
Naka, just as a reminder for administrative purposes, we are coming up on an hour and a half long stream. How long do you want to go before we head over to Discord for the after show?
About 11ish.
Okay, so another half an hour.
I think we're wrapping up.
Here's something that I kind of want to point out, though. A lot of these like politicians will often have like a public opinion and a private opinion. There's actually been a lot of like leaked audio that's come out over the last few years with Republicans like shitting all over Trump.
They hate Trump.
A lot of Republicans,
most of them
really
hate
don't
him.
like it.
I mean, Trump shits all over them, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, his base does too. His base accuses, and like we're finally getting animation stuff squared away for Collective View, but we actually wrote an episode on this for Collective View where we talked about the difference between a progressive, a leftist, and a liberal. And like what all of those things actually mean and why they're misused in a lot of modern day discourse and why a lot of people think that they're interchangeable, but they're not. It's just sort of a problem of American politics and any sort of two-party political system. But the reason that this is pertinent is because there's an example in there where we talk about on the political compass, you've got your axis that is your social axis or your hierarchical axis, and then you have your economic axis. And so when you're talking about the economic axis, the alt-right agrees with the Republicans on most things when it comes to economic policy. But where you start to get problems between the alt-right and the Republicans, the reason that the Republicans are often accused of not being conservative enough is that the alt-right wants this very rigid, freaking almost, fascistic hierarchy,
Look at the Groiper wars going on right now between Nick Fuentes' fan base and the TP USA.
You can call it a quote, you can call it a quote unquote meritocracy, but it's very clearly not. It's mostly a race-based, gender-based,
I'd say
hierarchy.
I'd say they would claim it was a meritocracy is what I'm saying. That's their position, that it's merit-based when it isn't, obviously.
Meritocracy. That's a funny joke, guys.
Yeah, I loved your Nick Fuentes reference, AR. Fuck that guy.
Reminder to the moderators, if you time somebody out...
So much for right-wing unity.
Guys, reminder to the moderators, when you time somebody out or anything else, you need to at them and post why you did it. Please remember policy.
Even trolls like GPH.
Real quick, Ali, what I was going to say is that's the reason why I'm a progressive liberal, because I'm economically progressive and I'm socially liberal. So I like the fact that you did that. So
yeah, the name of the first video, we're working on getting it animated still. It's called Politics Are Non-Binary, and Suris is actually doing the voice for it. But it just it popped into my head talking about, the difference between like leftists often say the Democrats aren't left enough.
That's
liberals, liberals, you can find liberals on both sides of the aisle. It's just where, when you talk about liberalness, what you're talking about is the rights of the individual over the rights of the, over like collective well-being, so to speak. And so some of the quote unquote most liberal people are actually economic conservatives, but we don't have a party or a, because the libertarians, for example, still can describe themselves as being liberal by the political science definition of what liberal is, that idea of individual autonomy.
I think I wrote
it comes
this
with
paper
a
in
great degree of it comes with a great degree of economic conservatism when you're talking to a libertarian. But the social axis is where you get the differentiation with the progressives. The progressives, on the social axis lean more towards equality than they do individuation generally.
The progressive regressive thing comes from taxation, right? So progressive tax is a tax that tends to take more money from richer people than less affluent people, and regressive tax tends to hurt people at the bottom more than the top. And we have very regressive taxation in the United States. We've got companies that they pay zero in taxes every year. You see it all over Twitter. That's a regressive policy. No,
our
that's
entire healthcare system is a regressive tax policy.
Yes.
Yes, and
From
that is
top to
true.
bottom.
And actually, the state that I live
alcoholism,
in,
cigarette abuse, we go after everything with regressive taxes.
Yes.
well, the most regressive taxation system in the country is actually found in my state, and that is the primary income that the state gets comes from sales taxes, which heavily hits the poorest
Yes.
50% of our populace here in Washington State, far more than anyone else, especially because the rich will just go down to Portland and buy their shit.
Right.
But like on top of that, like, you know, we also, the other big source of income, we don't have an income tax for the state. We also have property taxes, and property taxes that are so high, they end up hiking rent rates, which also contributes to our massive homelessness problems. That's another example of an extremely regressive tax.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about like progressive in the larger discourse, generally what you're talking about is people who are looking for some level of social equality. It doesn't really have as much of an economic definition when you're talking about the general discourse. And so when somebody describes themselves as a progressive, most of the time what they're talking about is, you know, that they are some variation on either, you know, intersectional feminist, or they're concerned about race issues, or, you know, things of that nature. They have a tendency to be people who are more concerned with dealing with social issues than they are economic ones.
Yeah, I don't like the term progressive. I wish people would use social democrat or democratic socialist. It's much more defining as a political ideology.
I agree.
I mean, I'm neither of those things. I'm a leftist, but I actually defined that in the video too. So
Yeah.
if it comes down to it, democratic socialism is, I think, what's probably going to happen in my lifetime, but I'm very much a leftist.
I hope so. I think I'm a classic liberal, so I'm Marx.
Be careful with that term. Sargon uses that.
I know.
Dave Rubin also claims to be a classic liberal.
Sure, lots of
Dave
people.
Rubin is the only true progressive leftist. He's so regressive, he's actually on the right.
All right, so Shay, Naka, jokes aside, let Peel talk, please.
I'm sorry, I just
saying,
had to.
It's okay. I'm just saying that I would have happily edited Marx's book.
I mean, yeah, you and I had a conversation about that when we first met, actually. We ended up talking for hours
we did.
about that. You know, like, this is where I think discourse has sort of fallen off in the US because of this, like, fucked up two-party system that we have. There's no metric for your libertarians. There's no metric for your, you know, the way that it's commonly used, classic liberals, the people who are, you know, looking at more economic freedom, who value that, quote unquote, and I'm going to put huge air quotes over economic freedom, because that the freedom to hoard shitloads of wealth is what they're talking about.
Right.
You know, and pass it on to your kids.
Right. And where I feel a classic liberal would say, no, we need 100% estate tax, you know, which we used to have stuff like that. We don't anymore.
I'm like borderline, poor should just like rise up and just take everything back.
In Minecraft.
You need to go with the full-on Marx thing. We need to end the landlord class, and then also, sorry.
I mean,
I think I'm there with you.
You're not wrong.
Like,
I mean,
let's just revolution.
I'm listening and nodding. That's all, sir. Just listening and nodding.
So, in terms of, you know, I guess we're getting pretty close to closing remarks and shilling.
Well, I do have a closing thought that I kind of want to get people's opinions on, because so, like, I pointed out, Allie, that you know, I personally do think that, like, we should try to expedite a court process, get these key figures to testify. But another way we could throw a wrench in Republican plans is with our articles of impeachment. Should the Mueller report now become part of the articles of impeachment?
You mean the 10 pieces of obstruction thing?
The obstruction, and how in Chapter 2 of the Mueller report, he clearly laid out that the president committed crimes.
Right.
Yes.
Here's the issue. Should it? Yes. Is that smart to do politically? That's a different question.
Would
You
it
know,
maybe throw a wrench
hold
in
on.
their like witness calling
on.
program?
Knock.
But yeah, go
Knock,
ahead,
let Miguel
Progressive.
talk, please. I'm gonna
Okay,
mute you,
so-
Knock. Like you're getting impulsive.
I just had
Like,
to
let
like throw in an
Miguel
extra
talk.
question. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm gonna throw a scenario out there. Okay, let's pretend. I'm gonna look just the first two names I see in chat. First two names I see in chat are Mistress Angelica and Christy Santiago. So let's say that Mistress Angelica and Christy Santiago planned to murder me, and they were successful, and they murdered me. Okay. When after the investigation's complete and they are charged with the crime, they wouldn't just be charged with murder. They'd be charged with conspiracy. They'd be charged with, let's say that they took my body across state lines for a drug trafficking deal. Well, now you've got drug trafficking charges. They found the weapons on Christie, and one of them was a handgun that she found in another state. So now you've got a whole bunch of handgun charges, right? They don't just charge you with one thing. Now, once trial comes and they get Christy and Angelica to plea, they may just say, okay, we'll drop all of these charges if you plead to A, B, and C. So what Naka
plea bargains and such.
Right. So what Naka is proposing is something similar with articles of impeachment. We don't just go in with one. We throw the fucking book at him, and we make, we put 20 charges or 30 charges and make them argue every individual one. I like that idea if it's a criminal trial, but because it's impeachment, you want the thing that you can prove, right? Bill Clinton lied on TV. And so they just went perjury because in this moment, Bill lied on TV. Here's the thing he lied about, and he lied about it. And they got everybody to come in and say, he lied about it. He lied about it. He lied about it. He lied about it. I think that
Exactly. So they impeached a president over lying when we have Trump that lies.
I know.
Time and time again.
I don't know. I could get this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm swayed
You
back.
guys are missing the point. This is how we get him out of office. We got to find the male staffer that has or that has Mike Pence's DNA on his collar.
Right.
We know how it got there.
Right. There you go.
And
It's so complicated. Like I think maybe we can all agree at the end of these impeachment hearings, Trump's guilty, but will he be guilty? That's the question, right?
It's the issue is I think it's too early in the process to tell. We're going to need to see what documents they're bringing. We're going to have to watch the trial in the Senate. I mean, all we've seen right now is an investigation. People come in, ask them questions, and gather evidence. That's all we've seen. We're going to have to see what evidence they bring to the Senate trial in order for me to give you an answer. I have no idea.
And we have to hope that this trial. I mean, I don't even think. I want to be hopeful, but can we honestly hope that the Senate trial? I mean, I know Justin Roberts is going to oversee it if they do it right. Like I know, like literally, they had a conversation in the White House about whether Mitch McConnell should just hold a vote, right, and not even do a trial. So I mean,
right.
And Trump wants a trial. I just hope it's a real one. Honestly.
I mean, Trump has already gone through 3 lawyers now? At least 2 of them ended up behind bars.
I think he's gone.
And in a trial, will we hear from the key witnesses? Do you think so? Like, will we won't hear from Bolton and Pompeo, will we?
Probably not. I mean, honestly, the Justice Department got enough information from them, in their investigation. I mean, Trump is under investigation for tax crimes in a number of different municipal courts, which he can't pardon himself from, which was something really smart that Mueller did. Mueller farmed out a lot of shit that he found in his finances to lower courts so that he would not be able to nationally pardon himself.
The other piece of news that came out today was the Inspector General, and by that inference, the Trump administration is officially investigating Hunter Biden now. Officially. They requested State Department documents.
They're also investigating Mueller and several of the key people in the Mueller investigation.
They're investigating how it started.
And they also found out that somebody on the FBI investigation, some staffer, filed the document wrong, and they're now criminally investigating that.
Yeah. And the person admitted to changing the information on the document.
Yeah. Can we talk about the projection coming out of the Republican Party? I swear, I can see their shit on my walls. The projection is so wrong. I mean, so
Well,
strong
I mean,
here.
like
Yeah.
there's a shining example here. Like there's a joke among Democrats that I'm starting to think is less and less of a joke. You know, Democrats tend to get caught with their pants down. You know, you've got the Elizabeth Warren is a cougar thing. You've got the oral office debacle.
I had fun with that one. I'm not gonna lie.
You've got Biden and his sexual harassment charges, which, by the way,
Giant
fuck
pink
Biden.
dildo.
Like, seriously, fuck Biden. Like, I would never vote for him.
Dude, I still get thoughts of like just Elizabeth Warren just getting freaky as fuck.
But I mean, like, you know,
Bro, that was
Democrats
such a treat.
Democrats
Such
tend
a
to get
treat.
caught in sexual scandals. Republicans, when they get caught, like if you guys watched last week tonight, John Oliver talked about a plot by the Republicans to suppress a minority vote
Right.
using the census, you know, and specifically using questions about people's like whether or not they are citizens or not
Yeah.
to try to undercount in certain states. That's fucking insane.
It
You
is.
talk about the Trump administration shit. You see Nixon shit. There's a bunch of stuff that, you know, George W. Bush got implicated for, you know, on an international stage.
Sure.
Like, you know, you see a lot of the lower tier Republican people get in trouble for conspiracy. Like the very few counts of voter fraud that have happened have mostly been like for Republicans a lot of the time. You know,
Well,
remember the
yeah,
entire pet
I
cemetery
mean-
that voted for Bush.
And seriously, in all honesty, anybody that's ever participated in local politics, I mean, everybody like does like they try to get advantage. It's not like voter fraud. You try to get advantages, right? Like if you've ever done these things on a local level, man, you're just out there trying to get everybody to the polls that you can. So sometimes, you know, like you got Rodriguez, and then you like, hey, Rodriguez, go vote, and the motherfucker goes votes again. You know, like, and it's not a Democratic thing, it's not a Republican thing. It's just a frenzy thing in the heat of the moment as both sides are trying to get their people to the polls. This has happened in every fucking election since the start of the country. Seriously.
Well, and on top of it, like when you look back on things, you know, as well, the number one thing that the Republicans have done is they have stripped voting rights away from minorities in states that they control.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and this is something I can verifiably prove. In North
This has been true
Carolina,
for-
North Carolina's the worst.
Carolina, the Sioux were stripped of their voting rights because a law that was deliberately in memos proven to be passed to strip them of their voting rights was passed that stated that
And in North Carolina, it would have been the Cherokee, not the Sioux.
Yeah, it was Sioux and Cherokee, according to what I read.
The right wing
Um,
has been trying to suppress like
they were-
minority votes since like
It was
after the
passed
end of
that
slavery.
you had to have a postal address.
Oh no,
which
you're
is
thinking
not
of
possible
North
on a
Dakota, Ali.
reservation.
You're thinking of North Dakota.
It was the North Dakota Sioux. Sorry.
Yeah, you're thinking of North Dakota.
A measure was passed by the Republican majority to make it so that you had to have a postal address in order to vote, which was deliberately done to make sure that the North Dakota Sioux would not be able to vote for a Democratic candidate.
Yeah,
They were
because
stripped of their voting rights because you can only have a a like PO box if you live on a reservation,
Yeah.
and it took months for
Well-
them to sue to get their voting rights back.
well, it's not that you can only have a PO box if you live on a reservation. It's that on the reservations they don't have addresses. So on the
Well,
reservation
that's what
you
I
can
was
only
saying.
have
You
a
can
PO
literally
box.
only have one.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So
You
Native
only can
Americans
have a
only have
PO
PO
box.
boxes in North Dakota. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Well, Native Americans that live on the
extends-
res anyway.
yeah.
That also extends to like suppressing the vote of like people in poverty as well.
Well, and
Yeah,
I mean,
like
just
voter
look at
ID
Georgia.
laws.
40,000 black votes were suppressed in the last governor race
Yeah.
involving Stacey Abrams, who clearly won that race had those votes been counted.
yeah.
I
Just
just
to
want to
reiterate
ask,
like a point that I was saying earlier, like
AR,
Let's-
can we let PL ask his question?
sure.
No,
sorry.
that was Puff. That was Puff.
Oh, Puff, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I just wanted to ask progressive liberal. So just to check.
Puff, you
Puff?
dealing with some
You
tech
cut
issues
out,
there? I
Back?
Puff, you
think
cut out.
I think I'm back.
Puff's
The
back.
pagans influenced it all.
Yeah. No,
Right.
what I did is I pulled on my USB cord. I don't have my stats in front of me, but I think I have them remembered well enough that statistically speaking, that voter fraud is so rare of an occurrence. It statistically doesn't occur, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so low that it's statistically zero.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's a 0 on the statistical scoreboard. Like it's
Right.
it's
And I
such a
believe
random thing, and it only really happens in like Republican races, like counties, most of the time, right? Like,
Yeah, and it's usually like the black mom that
Okay,
filled out.
PL,
Uh,
guys, PL's a political scientist. He was trying to answer the question.
my understanding is that the last 10 arrests for voter fraud have all been to help Republicans.
okay, so it would go against the statement of more projection. Dems do the most voter fraud. The facts would go against that. You would need
Those are the
alternative
facts.
facts to support that statement.
If the facts are what you're worried about, then yes.
Okay, I would need alternative facts to support that statement.
Yes, you would. Yes,
Could you name, perchance, a cable news station that I might be able to tune into on a given night to support that statement?
So what I do is first of all, I check the camera in my microwave. And as long as it's working, I know that I still need to watch Fox News.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, my Med Alert bracelet went off, so
Yeah,
I
I just scream out,
changed
"Will
the
somebody
battery.
call Sean Hannity?"
Okay, well, he calls me at night,
Does he?
but only after he calls Trump, because that
Right.
guy's more important. I heard he sings him a lullaby, but that's because Trump used to cradle him to sleep when they lived in New York. He was the big spoon.
All right, so guys,
I was gonna say just real quick that usually the only time that voting fraud gets prosecuted when it's a woman of color who voted who filled out her absentee ballot, forgot doing so, and then went to the actual voter box and voted again.
Yeah, those kinds of situations happen. It's very rare. Very rare.
but coming back to things, we actually are on the last 5 to 10 minutes of the stream at the moment, so I think we probably need to get close to closing statements.
Yeah.
I'll let PL go first because he's got a channel that he's showing, and I'll make sure that it gets put in the chat again. But I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to say their closing statements, and then we can head off. I also have another announcement for people who are worried about the rats. It came to my attention from a friend of mine who has hand-reared rats that there's actually a good chance that ours might actually have been weaned from their mother like upwards of a week early, and that might have been what killed this one. Because apparently their genitalia drop at 2 to 3 weeks, and we were told that they were 5 weeks old. But if this one died from malnutrition because it couldn't digest the solid food that we were giving them, then there's a very good chance that they were actually weaned a week or two early, and that they're not actually as old as we were told they were. So we might actually lose the whole bunch if we can't figure out some way to get them food.
Oh,
So sorry.
So like I might like be a little bit late coming to the after show because I'm going to be talking to my friend who has bred them before and try to figure out what to do to save my babies.
What I was gonna say is, I know you can get like different kind of animal milks. Like I got cat milk and I think gerbil milk. You might want to check with your vet, but you may be able to get rat's milk.
What I was told was that usually kitten milk is used if the mother rejects the babies or something.
Well, I know you can get cat's milk, so you should be fine.
Yeah, we were told to get kitten formula and maybe like boiled eggs and stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to give that update for people who are worried because like I said, I've been posting pictures of the babies like every day for the past week or so. So I know folks that are on the Discord servers I run in might be a little concerned.
It's like my daily dose of wholesomeness. I need that stuff in the morning. It's
I know, right?
But there's a chance that we might lose all of them, and this one was just the weakest of the bunch. We're not really sure.
Another thing you might try is, and I found it because my wife was on a diet, but rats are omnivores. They eat everything. So they make peanut butter powder. You can pick it up at the store, so you could mix that in.
Oh, I have that in my house.
You could probably mix that in.
The big thing is we've been told that there's a chance that they can't digest anything but the kitten milk and maybe the eggs, and we're going to have to make sure that they have a really high-fat diet, high protein for a little while. Like, we're going to have to make sure that, that first off, that they're not all female, and we're just making a mistake, the genitalia haven't dropped, but given that this one died of malnutrition, like, there's a very good chance that they were weaned upwards of a week early, and that we were lied to. We thought they might be 4 weeks old when we figured that out, but there's a chance that they might be only 2 to 3 weeks old and that we were actually scammed by the breeder. So yeah, like I said, I didn't want to stress anybody out or like hijack the stream or anything, but that is the report that I got back from what the vet said caused the death of the little Dumbo Rex that I had.
I hope you get it. Hope you get it figured out. That sucks, man.
That's what I'm hoping, but I might be a minute or two late getting into the after show at PL. I don't know if you're a member of our Discord, but if you're not, there should be a link in the
Yeah.
description.
Oh
to
yeah, I
it.
am. Oh yeah, I'm on.
We'd love to have you on for the after show as well for at least a little while.
Yeah, I'll do. We got a stream tonight, but I'll pop in there for a few minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay,
before
so-
we start shelling out, before we close, mods, throw the Discord link in the chat, and anybody's welcome. GPH, come in. I'd love to hear your voice.
That said, though, you gotta read the rules and post the password before you're allowed into the Discord. Just saying, if you
Yeah.
don't,
No Darth
Then you
Dawkins
can't come in.
exceptions.
Really not hard to
And I'm
find.
still gonna cut that shit out, Allie. Like we're totally gonna have like the way you shut down Darth Dawkins video will be out. Maybe it'll be a Saturday video one of these weeks.
yeah, don't fucking condescend to me in my house, asshole. That shit don't happen. Which reminds me, I will be coming in and I will be moderating the after show for a little bit. I just got to take care of this first because no offense, but like I've got literal babies in my house. I got to make sure I take care of them because we've already lost one, and my adult rat that we had for over 3 years got put down a month ago. So I'm not sure if my heart could take losing any more.
Yeah, I'll only be until 1 at the latest. I stayed in super late last night, and I will not be doing that again today. I have a daughter that's got to get to school. So.
Alrighty, so I'm going to just verbally give you guys an order really quick. We're going to go PL, then AR, then Puff, then me, then Naka. So I'm going to mute and let you all do your thing. But I wanted to let PL go first because he's got a channel that he's shilling and he's trying to get his, subs up. And he, like I said, he's woefully undersubbed. He's had me on. I've watched a lot of his shows. He goes deeper into this shit than a lot of the YouTube pundits that I know. And I think it's well worth watching his stuff. Like it really
Can't
is.
confirm.
Thank
Ethan,
you.
Progressive Liberal's a great channel. You really need to subscribe. Ethan's pretty great.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you for having me on. I love talking with you guys, and I'm always up for coming on. So just ask. So I've got my YouTube channel, Progressive Liberal. There's like 60 videos on there. Our live shows, the after show, which was a thing we did for a while. Got a bunch of pre-edited videos on lots of different topics. Check me out on mixer.com/progressive liberal. I'm actually monetized there. So on Mixer, I can actually make money, which is different from YouTube. But I'm working on the YouTube channel. We're at 423 subs, something like that. Trying to get to 500 before the end of the year. So your sub is appreciated. You can also find us on iTunes and Stitcher if you want to just listen to the shows in a podcast form. We try to stream every single day on YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. Myself, my wife, and my co-host Mikey Famine. We play video games and we talk about politics, or sometimes we talk about dicks and poop, or Star Wars and stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of fun and we enjoy it. And
bring in the spicy left memes.
And yes, lots of spicy left memes. Thank you guys again for having me, and thank you for the chat for being so awesome and so engaged tonight.
So I think that's my cue to show myself out. If you want to follow me anywhere, the only platform that I'm currently on is Twitter. My handle is the Atheist R. For my old name, the Atheist Rationale. I'm likely coming back to YouTube in a couple of weeks. Gonna make my re-debut, I guess you can call it, on Modern Day Debate. It's still up in the air. We're working on scheduling and all that good stuff. But if everything works out, I'll be debating everybody's favorite crypto neo-Nazi, Jesus is Lord, on the efficacy of conversion therapy. So that should be pretty fun. Planning on doing a simulcast on my channel, but it's like I said, still got to create it, do all that kind of work. Final thoughts. Obviously, Trump is guilty. Epstein didn't kill himself, and hashtag Antifa did nothing wrong.
All right, Pup, that's your cue.
So normally I don't shill, but I'm gonna try to drop the link in chat. I don't really want to go over it too much, but if you can, throw $5 at me. It's 'tis the season to try to help people out. It's kind of a janky situation I got put in. It kind of sucks, but now I'm able to at least breathe a little bit, but still I'm like struggling just to tread water. I'm, delivering on the weekends, nights and weekends, but I'm a full-time college student, so I dropped a link in chat. If you want to check it out, please try to help me out. $5 will help. That'd be great. Other than that, check out Progressive Liberal. He puts on a dope show. Of course, you see that, Raging Atheist is going to be here. Leah Kai is helping him out. I'm just here for color commentary, try to help people laugh. People keep telling me to put on a channel, and if I can get an avatar, that'll happen one day. But other than that, I will pass it on.
We have some experts that could probably help you out on the avatar, Puff.
Yeah, but I'm one of those people that I expect to pay people for the work they do, so that's the big holdup right now.
I know, I could totally Photoshop some kind of avatar for you within 2 minutes. But we'll figure something out for you.
So
Can't wait for it, Puff. Should be fun.
As far as my stuff, you all know me. I go by Aleakai here in the community. That's my tribal name. I help run 2 channels, one of which is finally getting itself off the ground again, and I'm happy about that because we solved the issues that were going on with the animation crew. So that's Collective View. The one that's in the description, the allied channel that Naka loves to death and sometimes comes and hangs out on, is Sticks and Stonehenge. We're working on getting prepared content. Unfortunately, I'm kind of the video editor for Sticks and Stonehenge at the moment, and I've also been dealing with some shit at home. I've had 3 very sick men in my house, 2 of which are my partners, the other one's my boarder, and I've been taking care of all of them, and then I came down with it, which the only reason I sound remotely healthy right now is because I chugged cough syrup like it was candy. So things have been getting a little bit messy, but I promise the reacts are still coming. We've also got some stuff going on in the Hellenist community that we're going to be addressing pretty soon. There's a gentleman called Senion that Sticks and Stonehenge is doing a collaborative with Naka. I'm going to be coming on for one of Naka's edited videos, and we're going to be talking about some of his political shit over here, and then over on Sticks and Stonehenge, Callan and I are going to be taking on some of his theology for his group. He likes to wear Nazi regalia and attempt to defend it as his God told him to. And when I've said I'm putting my money where my mouth is, if there's shitheads in my community, I'm gonna call them the fuck out, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So
yeah, I dropped the ball on
that over the next couple of weeks.
I dropped the ball on that this week, Ali. I got so into the hearings, I totally forgot to message you Wednesday and be like, yeah, let's do that collaboration.
Yep, so Knock and I are going to be doing that. We're going to be doing a sister video over on SNS and link them together. Surus and Ocean actually did a live stream where they talked about this guy and specifically went in depth onto one of his political posts where he heavily advocated for a pagan theocracy, among other really fucked up things. Where
was
people
he the guy that was citizen guarantees citizenship?
Service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah,
yep, same guy.
I fucked up the slogan. It's a UKIP thing. It's very Sargon of Akkad. Yeah.
Yep, so this guy, Knock and I are going to be taking him the fuck down. We're going to be going through all of his defending Nazi crap, and we're going to be breaking that shit down, breaking down his defenses of it, breaking down this idea that as the leader of a group, you can use personal revelation to defend your very public wearing of Nazi regalia. We're gonna be taking down a lot of shit.
Can't wait for that.
From
that
this particular person. So that's coming. If you haven't checked out Sticks and Stonehenge yet, you are missing the hell out. It's 5 pagans that sit and we talk about stuff from a pagan perspective. So think Ocean Keltoy kind of times 5, but from a bunch of different perspectives. We've got a Hellenist, an eclectic, a Sumerian Reconstructionist, a Celtic Reconstructionist, and everybody's favorite Wolf the Red are heathen. So that's what we do over there. We've got prepared content coming very, very soon. Like I said, I just need to get my life back together because everything's been messy and, baby rats and sick men, etc. But that stuff's, we're working our butts off on it, and we're hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by June next year. So if y'all want to check us out, we do live streams every Wednesday. And that goes over to you, Naka.
All right, yeah, so I don't have too much. Yeah, I'll be in Discord VC, unrecorded general chat after show. So general rules, if you're going to come into the after show chat, I'm the only one that decides to record and that does recording in Discord after shows. This will not be a recorded after show, but anybody's welcome to come in, be part of the conversation. I'll be there till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I do. So tomorrow, I announced on my Patreon that I was probably going to do a filler video, and I might still do a filler. And when I say filler, I'm like it's a new series that I'm really proud of. It's a Raging Atheist Reacts, and it's like my response videos, but more in real time. It's still edited, but yeah, it's something different that I'm doing. But I have an S.J. Thomason video that I'm just like itching to just put out, and I was gonna wait till next week, but I'm thinking maybe tomorrow will be my video. S.J. Thomason intellectual ? So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Saturday I'm fairly certain I'm gonna like take a day off from putting anything on YouTube, and then Sunday I will do a live response stream, probably earlier, to test the waters on whether or not I want to do an early or late response stream on Sundays. So I'm thinking around 11 o'clock on Sunday, I'll be doing a live response stream. That would be 8 a.m. Eastern time. So yeah, check that shit out. And if you want to be part of Discord, I would love to have you come over and be part of the conversation. If you might not understand something about me, I can be somewhat dickish in conversations, so just be aware of that.
Yeah, I've got a muzzle on Knock when I'm in the chat. When I'm not around, he's a lot more of a bulldog.
Idea, Naka. This is news.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right. So, again, thank you everybody for hanging out. Remember, be the conversation. You know, discourse is important for everybody. And so is allyship. Like this conversation would not be possible if Nock wasn't willing to have a pagan as a fucking moderator, you know, and we did invite conservatives on, you know, he's more than happy to have conversations with them too. Like, be willing to have discourse, be willing to have the conversation, be a part of that, because civic engagement, real engagement, is the only path to any substantial change. All right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Okay,
I actually
with
have
that,
to,
Knock-
and I have to end the stream. So I'm like
Yes, you
waiting.
do.
I'm waiting for Allie to end the stream. So yeah, and then of course I like just hit everything that's all fucked up. So let's get. Yeah,
Silly
we're not
Knock.
ending the stream tonight, guys. There we go. So.